to the Shepherdess of Sheep podcast. I'm your host, Sydney Walters, and also the founder of Shepherdess of Sheep. I created this ministry to empower the wives of pro athletes with a platform to share their testimonies and experiences they have encountered through this unique lifestyle and engage in a community of strong, faith-driven women. I'm excited to have Connie Muller with me today. For those of you who don't know Connie, she's an amazing friend, wife, and woman of God. I have gotten the privilege of getting to know her this past season because both our husbands play for the Dragons here in Japan. Connie has experienced baseball at the minor league, big league, and international level and has a lot of knowledge to share from a baseball wife's perspective and is a strong woman of faith. So, Connie, welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So happy to have you. This is so awesome. Connie is just absolutely just the best.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice.
Okay, so we want to give you guys a little bit of backstory on Connie and Kyle and kind of like who they are. Kyle is obviously Connie's husband.
Yes.
He's amazing too as well. Okay, so when did you and Kyle meet?
So we first met, I guess through his brother in October of 2018. We didn't meet in person then. We were both just like with other people, and then we met in person October of 2019. Okay. So like roughly a year later.
Okay. And then how many seasons have you been traveling with him?
Oh my gosh. I traveled with him the first season, I think it was 2022. I would kind of go see him. 2020 was COVID season, so it's like I would travel and see him, but it was kind of bubble, all that stuff. 2022, I was there full time, and then just since then.
Awesome.
Right.
Long
my
time.
Gosh, I know.
And then how long have you guys been married for?
So we got married December of 2023. So super similar to you guys, going on 2 years.
So excited. Second year we were talking about. Second year international baseball team.
You see,
I don't think you could test a marriage a little bit more than traveling to a different country.
Oh my gosh, yeah, seriously, baseball will do that to you. But it's awesome.
Okay, and then finally, obviously, faith-focused podcast. I would love to hear about your walk with Christ and what that's looked like, and even how baseball has like made it more helpful or made it more difficult, or kind of what everything's looked like so far.
Yeah, so Kyle and I were both born, raised, grew up Catholic. So both like baptized, first communion, confirmation. He went to an all-boys Catholic school. So we kind of always had that background in our lives. I think in our adult life, both always knew God, like knew Christ, had our faith. We didn't really rely on it too much. It was kind of just there. We didn't dive into it. And then I would say we definitely talked about it like before we got engaged. Knew we wanted to like raise our children Catholic, continue that, but it just wasn't like the forefront of our lives, I would say. And then 2023 season was the year that we were engaged and went through premarital counseling to get married in the Catholic Church. And then it was also a challenging season. So that kind of always brings that back for you. Really, it was separately. Like we were separately diving deeper into our faith and found a lot of comfort in that. And also just started learning so much more about who we are, how we rely on God, how our life works, and then kind of came together with that. And then we got married in the Catholic Church that off season. And that I think was so special for us because we weren't really expecting it to be, I guess. Like it was kind of always going to be a given. It was like, well, yeah, we're Catholic. That's a very important like first step in a marriage to have like that covenant with each other, with God. Of course we're going to do it. And then when we did it, it was actually something that meant so much more than we thought it was going to. And then 2024 season kind of just kept growing with our faith. So we had Bible study with the girls at the games, which was so nice. And then the guys had a chaplain that they were able to talk to. A lot of them got together. And it's just, we had a huge community around us that were also strong in their faith. And then, just like kept growing with that. And then coming here, obviously, that can grow your faith so much more because you are with each other all the time and y'all are both like, what's happening here? Like, God, please help me, that type of thing. So I feel like 2023 was the year we both started growing a lot more in our faith, and then it's just kept going since then.
That's crazy. It's crazy how like much your faith has grown in such a short time because like as like getting to be like your guys' teammates, but also your guys' friends and neighbors.
Yeah.
Like we get to see you guys and how you handle like difficult situations and positive situations and kind of just walk through this life together and everything. And you would have no idea that you guys had just fully come into your faith 2 years ago because of how strongly you guys represent Christ through your marriage, through you guys personally and everything at the field, like in friendships. So much kudos to you guys for like just how you guys represent like your faith and represent Jesus. So
oh my gosh, thank you. That means so much. Because you're your own worst critic. Like you're always like, I need to be better at this. You're like, we need to be better at this. And you want to grow so much more. So that is very nice to hear. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so a lot of the reason that Connie and I wanted to do this podcast is because we feel like we have so much knowledge to share when it comes to not only just playing in Japan, but just playing baseball internationally. And at least for, I think, both of us, like when we first signed, we kind of had no knowledge of what this was going to look like. Of course, you always hear oh, it's so fun, or you're going to have a great time, or some people that maybe have like a little bit of a different experience and stuff, but nobody really has actual definitive information for like what it's like for the women.
Yes.
And it's like for the guys, of course, things change and everything, but they still go to the field no matter what. They're still playing baseball. Like there's definitely some comforts that the boys can kind of feel like no matter what. But for us, it's just such a new whirlwind of just what are we signing up for and what is this situation going to look like?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh.
So we put some questions together to kind of first start off by talking about just like life in Japan and baseball questions. And then we'll dive a little bit deeper into kind of like the faith-focused section of this and kind of like opening up about what our experiences were in here and everything. So
perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so the first one is, was there a culture shock? And what helped with the culture shock, if yes?
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. And I kind of expected that. And I know like I've told you this, my mom grew up in Japan. So she grew up partially in Hong Kong, but then whenever she was in Japan, she was in Tokyo, and she had the time of her life. She loved it so much. And so I kind of went into it expecting that. But I also knew, she was younger. She was in like middle school, elementary school. So very different. And also when you're with a lot of other Americans. So coming here, it was definitely a shock. Like going to the grocery store, I mean, everything's in Japanese, like trying to translate, okay, is this the vegetable I think it is? Like what ground meat is this? Is this pork or beef? Like trying to figure that out. Directions, like not knowing where you are. You don't have a car. You're in somewhere where people aren't speaking English. Like maybe in the bigger cities like Tokyo, like the touristy ones, you'll have English. But other than that, I feel like it's a game of charades half the time, which I feel so bad about. But yeah, definitely a culture shock. Sorry, what was the other part of that question?
Okay. What helped with the culture shock?
Honestly, so our husbands got here before we did. The wives aren't allowed to go to part of spring training. So I think Kyle was able to be here before they went to Okinawa, and he got to see a lot of places that were around us. So he was really helpful with I went to this restaurant, I think you would love it. Like he would plan dinners and stuff when I first got here. But the biggest thing I would say was establishing my own routine. Day one that we got here, I found a gym that I wanted to go to, and he went with me. We called the translator. We called Soma on the phone, and he translated it and was able to get me a membership. So immediately I had that part of my routine done. Found out where the closest and best grocery store was. So, okay, that's this close to the gym. Able then the next day, go to the gym, go to the grocery store. I know how to get home. Slowly starting to build that routine. And then whenever we were all able to meet, that just helped so much too. But
yeah, I feel like it's such the small things and
makes you feel like a human.
Exactly.
At first. Yeah. It's so it's an out of body experience. I feel like it was just, I remember those first few days, and I remember that first morning I was just crying. I was like, what am I doing? I can't even walk anywhere because I don't know where to go.
What am I gonna say if somebody tries to talk to me? I don't know what words I'm supposed to say.
I was and obviously Kyle was the field, so I think he left at 8 a.m. I had jet lag, so I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was just okay, and he was gone till 4 p.m. And I was just sitting in the apartment, and I was like, what am I doing? I have no idea. But yeah, you slowly start to figure it out of what works for you, where to go. a few words to get you by, all that type of stuff.
Exactly. You figure it out, but
oh my gosh.
it's a little difficult at the beginning.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Okay. How is the baseball style in Japan different than baseball in the US? So either you can talk about like what was your experience like as a wife in the stands, like how was that different? If you want to even talk about the way that baseball is played here, like whatever you feel comfortable talking about with those ones, like whatever comes to mind with it.
Yeah. So I remember the first game was such a culture shock because here in Japan, they chant for every single player. Like they have specific chants for every single guy that's up to bat. And so stands are packed. Like I remember that first it was a spring training game. And I think there were like 27,000 people. It was crazy and it was so loud. And the team we were with the 2 years before this, like didn't have that many fans that were coming to the stadium, just with like boycotting and the area that it was in and all of that. So going to that and hearing people chanting in a different language, the ticket is in a different language. Like I can't read it. I don't know where I'm going. Like someone had to take me to my seat. Didn't know, or no, we went to that game together because it was spring training. And we did. That was the first
taxi together. I had gone one other time. My taxi like dropped me off at the wrong location.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so you were able to show me like how to get upstairs but I was just like you can't understand anything that's happening. Even seeing the scoreboard with Kyle's picture and like everything, it's in Japanese. I can't read it. I don't know what it's saying. I feel like it is played differently here. Obviously, like I don't really know baseball enough. Like I can't speak eloquently on it. I feel like it's like scrappier here. Like the ball is put in play so much more, is not as many like home runs and like huge moments. But I feel like that's like the biggest thing. Like they're scrappier, which can be stressful.
Yeah, especially Kyle's a starting pitcher. Yeah, I don't know if we've mentioned that part.
Oh yeah,
and then my husband Nash is a relief pitcher. But yeah, just the first couple of games of just figuring out baseball here is just like wild. At least from like in the stands and stuff. Just like, oh, this environment is so different. The way baseball is played is so different. Like. Yeah, just culture shock after culture shock.
I know. I think I have screenshots from my Aura Ring, can like monitor your stress and like your heart rate. And I have screenshots from almost every single game this year where it's like your stress was a lot higher today than usual, and like I'm in the red zone during his games, and I can always tell it's like, oh, the fourth inning he kind of like got into some trouble. It skyrockets, and I'm just like.
Actually, like maybe I need to take my Aura Ring off during games.
It's like offending me. I'm like, I don't need to see that.
You're like, I don't have a problem, you have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so my biggest thing when we were getting ready to sign contracts and everything was asking the question of, like, what was the housing situation look like? So what does your housing situation look like? Or what did things look like at the beginning and everything?
Yeah, so the team has us in an apartment complex, which is really nice. And I would say there's like other people here that speak English too. Like whenever I'll get in the elevator, they'll speak a little bit. But we're here with the other Americans, which is really helpful. And so we all have, I think, a 2-bedroom apartment. And it's nice. Like it came fully furnished. We did buy some extra things on Amazon, but the team covers the apartment expenses except for utilities. So, yeah, it was nice. And like it's in a super great area, which really thankful for. We have a park less than a 10-minute walk away, so you're able to put your feet in the grass whenever you need to like connect and like or disconnect, I guess I would say. Yeah, like the apartment's great. I mean, it's definitely like a different style than it is in America. Like the kitchen, tiny, you don't have an oven, you're getting used to all those types of things, but super grateful to be able to even have that. And like you're not paying for housing. That's so huge. And like they set it up. We came in and figured it out, but definitely a few little culture shocks here and there, with like the shower room, the size of stuff, like all that type of stuff.
The shower room.
I
You
know.
hate it at the beginning, but then you're like, I kind of want this in my house now.
Oh my gosh, whenever I'm cold going in there, I'm just like, oh, this is so
nice. You're like, how do I explain a shower in the United States? You're like, I don't know how to make this happen, but I need this.
Room, but also shower.
Okay. Did you stay in the same apartment all year, or did you have to move? Like, so if anything would have happened for you guys to go from top team to farm team, would you guys have had to pack up and relocate?
No, and that was the best thing is we stayed in this apartment all year. which again, super, super grateful for. I know we've talked about that a few times, how in the States, like, you don't have that security. Like, your husband gets optioned. Most teams, you're moving states, or you get DFA'd, you're moving entirely out of that house and you are shipping your cars home or to the new team that you're going to if you get picked up or you get outrighted or whatever happens. So having that stability this year was so nice. It was just like, you're going to be there the whole time. I have heard some other teams are different, but I think you get to stay in the same apartment. Just the farm team and the big league team might be like a few hours away or like an hour. But luckily with this team, they're like a 20-minute drive, which isn't bad.
Yeah, there's really not like too much of a difference with it, at least.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So with Kyle being a starter, what does traveling to an away series look like, and did you travel a lot?
Yeah, so every single away series that he went on, I went on. So I know this is different with other teams in Japan. I don't think everyone's like this. But each team can only have so many foreigners on the active roster at a time. So with Kyle being a starting pitcher here in Japan, they pitch once a week rather than on a 5-day rotation. So the days that he was pitching, another foreigner would not be activated that day. So they would just be off the roster for that like specific day. But when you're not on the roster, so for him, essentially 6 days out of the week, you're not allowed to go to the games, which was so nice for us. Like, we have gotten to spend more time than ever together this year. Like, we've had dinner together pretty much every single night. Like, we normally have breakfast together. It's been incredible. So I would go on the away series with him. It was super easy. Like, we would just take the bullet train to wherever we were going. We had to fly one time, which was spring training for us. Yeah, it was super nice. I mean, you're able to go with him, and then he would leave the day after he pitched. Like, he wouldn't have to stay the whole series, and then he would have an off day 2 days after he pitched. So, I mean, we honestly had a great schedule this year. Like, I cannot complain.
Yeah.
At all. It was so nice, but.
So great.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does public transportation look like? Do you take the bus? Do you take the subway? Do you have like a car service? What does all of that look like? And what was kind of your first experience with it, and how do you feel about it now?
This experience, I was so overwhelmed. Luckily, anytime the guys travel with the team, or travel for an away series, they travel with an interpreter with them. And normally he handles getting the tickets and everything if they're not traveling with the team. So that part's really helpful. The public transportation is so, so nice. No car service or anything. But the team does pay, at least this one does. I have heard some others don't. They pay for their taxis. They give them a book and they just give it to the taxi driver, but it only works to and from the field. So like to the field from the apartment and to the apartment from the field. And then for us, we normally just take taxis just because we are a little bit of a walk away from the entrance to a subway station. But I mean, the public transportation here is so nice. It's so clean. I've never felt unsafe, which you can't say the same back home. Like back home, I'm taking an Uber all day, every day. But yeah, it's been great. And I think my first experience was on the bullet train. Actually, it was the day I met you. Whenever you had just landed, we were taking the bullet train to the airport because we had to fly to Hokkaido. Yeah, I think. And that was good, but I was very intimidated because I was like, no one talks. Like, it's very quiet, very respectful. So I was like whispering to Kyle. I was like, I don't know what to say. But ever since then, like, we've kind of gotten our bearings of like, okay, we're going to go here, get a water, grab a snack probably, or you can bring food. And then it's super easy, honestly. And then when like our families were here, I was able to do it on my own. So I feel like now I'm a pro with it.
You really are.
So I hope. Oh, really?
Yeah, you talk about the Suika stuff and
oh my god.
Like
That's
Suika.
Me.
It's a game changer, let me tell you.
And not even if that was a thing for a while, and the second I figured it out, it helped so much.
Suika and Google Maps, I feel like you can take on the world in Japan. You'll figure it out.
Exactly, and charades. Add that part to the list.
If you get on the wrong train or the wrong subway, just like get off and then just go to the correct one. Like, you're fine, you'll figure it out.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, how often would you suggest having family and friends come visit?
I would say it depends how many people you're going to have come out, and I would say it depends how often they can come. Tickets to get out here, it's such a long flight that it definitely can be pretty expensive. feel like the sweet spot, if somebody can only come out to visit you one time, probably like June or July. Because I think you're past like the original tough part. July is really hot though, so maybe June. And then after that, you kind of know you're on the second part of the season. But we had Kyle's family come out in April, which was super nice. And then my parents came out at the end of May. And then I went home in June, came back in July, and then his family was here again in July. So that was like a really nice time frame for us. We were able to have like a little bit of time to explore. And then we were have like some time alone, and then you kind of start like really missing people. Yeah. And you're like, gosh, I really want to see family, and then perfect timing again.
So did you think that the amount of like times people visited was because it was around three different times you guys hosted? Would you say 3 is too much, or 3 is kind of like the sweet spot if you separated enough, or maybe a little less?
It was great for us, honestly, especially like at the beginning, because it kind of like pushed us out of our comfort zone a little bit. Normally we were just, I think the first time was for opening series. So it was in Yokohama. And so we like trained to Tokyo with Kyle's parents, and they kind of like forced us to do things, not forced us, but like when people are here and they want to see stuff, you're going to go with them. Yeah. And it's stuff that I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise, because I would have had to leave Kyle, go do it on my own. Mm-hmm. So it was so nice having them out here. And then whenever my parents came, I got to show them around, and my mom hadn't been back since she grew up here. So that was like going to the church that she went to, like literally hadn't even changed. Stuff like that was really cool. And then when his family was out here again, it was so nice, like just seeing all sorts of different stuff. So it wasn't too much. I think both times, first time was like 10 days. My parents were 10 days. And then I think the second time his family was here, it was around 2 weeks. And honestly, it was great. Like, I feel like we could have had my parents come out like one more time, but it was just scheduling and figuring all that out. Yeah, no, it was great, honestly. Especially, it's just nice to have someone around that speaks English. And whenever you're going through something hard together, it makes it so much easier. It's like, oh, I'm on a train and I don't even know if I'm going the right direction, but I'm with family. So we'll all figure it out together, rather than being on your own and being like, everyone's looking at me, I'm taking up too much space, like whatever those thoughts might be.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like too, like you said, the boys are so busy with work, and sometimes they do get a day off, but again, like they're so exhausted from the workload that it's like sometimes they really just don't want to do anything. So having people come visit really is so nice, because you do get to play a little bit of like the fun tourist role of like getting to go and explore and do some of the things that like you just wouldn't have time to do if you didn't have people come and visit you.
It kind of puts you out of your comfort zone. Like truly all the stuff that we did, like even some of the castles that we saw, I didn't even know existed, and I never would have seen them if I hadn't have gone and like Kyle's family didn't want to go. And that was like my favorite one that I've seen this entire time. Yeah. So it definitely puts you out of your comfort zone. What about you? Because y'all had some family come too.
We had my parents come. They came a little bit earlier. It was the beginning of May. So it was a really great time for them to come, just because we had a lot going on in our personal lives. So the timing of it was perfect. Also, Nash was injured. So it was really nice to be able to kind of just like get a little bit of a break from like the daily life of baseball and all the other things that were going on and stuff. So in that sense, like the timing was perfect with it. I would say maybe not May. I think, May is probably a little too soon to when the season has started, but they were here for maybe 2.5 weeks, and it was great for me because like it's my parents, like it's easy to entertain them and stuff. Like I'm the one that's doing all the things with them and everything. They've always wanted to visit Asia, so it was like a perfect excuse and stuff. And then my brother and sister-in-law left because we are in the middle of September. So they left the beginning of September, and we're here for like, around 2 weeks. And so that was super fun. The timing of it, a little close to the end of season, but honestly not too bad. I feel like we didn't have too much that we had to do to kind of wrap up season. So honestly, like the middle end of August, not horrible, just really, really hot.
My gosh, it's
really, really hot. So again, maybe like July and August a little iffy with temperatures and stuff. The like knowing that family was gonna come and visit, whether it's my husband's family or my family, like there's just something about it that just helps like push forward a little bit of like, okay, I can do this and I know this is gonna happen. So if you can go to season at least knowing like one set of family members is gonna come and visit you, because we knew my parents were gonna come visit. We didn't know about my brother and sister-in-law. Like that was my saving grace, is knowing like, okay, I have X amount of months until I get to see them. Or if like we're going home, I have X amount of time until I can go home and I can see my people, I can see my dog, all of that. Like having something set up like that before you leave, I feel like is such a game changer of like putting you in a better spot, like mentally.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Like I went home one time and I will forever say like that saved me, honestly. Because like when you go home and it's like going home during baseball season too. It just gets you out of the mindset of like baseball all the time and you're just with family and you're with your loved ones. And yeah, like for our case with our dogs, like we missed so much. It was so nice. Like I felt like they were two completely separate people. Yeah. Because it was just like, that's a whole other life that I don't have here. And it was, oh my gosh, so nice. Like, and just being with family that whole time was, and being on like a normal time zone. Yeah. Like not being asleep when everyone's awake and vice versa. Yeah. Having that planned is, and if anyone's coming to Japan or Korea or wherever you're going to be going, if you haven't signed a contract yet and you can negotiate in flights for you, 10 out of 10 recommend doing that, even if it's just like one flight that you can go home, or if you know you'll be okay like paying for that, have that planned. Like that is a saving grace throughout all this.
Yes. Like that's definitely something that like I wish we would have been able to do and stuff. I think that would have been so helpful, but that's definitely just like not the direction that this season went for us. But I think 1000% like so many of the girls went home, and I think that was just like such a helpful game changer. Even 3 weeks, so nice to go and see family. Like it's long enough to be away from the guys where like it's okay, and they're gonna be so busy honestly with baseball anyways. Like go regroup and then just like come back and you can be like, the best version of yourself to help support them.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, completely agree.
Totally recommend that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the financial stability like with having a guaranteed salary compared to a more month-to-month performance-based salary in the US?
Oh my gosh, it was so nice, honestly. And I know that we've talked about this a lot too, of how big of a blessing it was. Like it can be so hard being away from family, and especially being in a foreign country where English is not really spoken. I think that's a big difference. But that was so huge. Like that in the apartment, we've never had that stability before, and no one has that stability back home. Like in the MLB, whatever level you're at, like your pay is going to be fluctuating all the time, and you can think you have a stable pay and then you can get DFA'd or you can get released, or like so many things can happen, and it can like the rug is ripped out from under you in a second. Whereas at least having that guaranteed salary, I don't know, it's just like a net beneath you. It's just like, we're going to be okay. Like we have this stability at least for this year. It was just, and that's like another thing. It's like, how can we say no to that? Like, of course we're going to do it. So it was so nice. Yeah. Honestly, I mean,
helps you plan a little bit from your future too. Like helps you kind of go into the off season being able to breathe. You can breathe during the season, because I feel like there's always that little bit of anxiety of just like, you never know when the other shoe's going to drop. How are we going to stay up here? Or if the boys are maybe like having a little bit of a difficult time out on the field and stuff. Okay, no, this is guaranteed and stuff. Like, yes, we might get moved down to farm team or something like that might happen, but this is guaranteed money. Mm-hmm. So,
it like sets up your future family for success. Like, obviously, like, we both don't have kids, but like we talk about it all the time of how it's setting up our children for success. Like. Mm-hmm. College funds, like setting up a fund for them, like just being able and like supporting our families too, like being able to have that luxury. It really is such a luxury. But I was going to go somewhere else with that, and I have no idea. I like fully lost my train of thought, but
gosh, that was great advice either way. So
it's been so nice.
Okay, how did you and Kyle support each other during the ups and downs of the season?
I think like one of the biggest things for us, I think it always has been and always will be, is communication. So he's been like a rock star with it. Like I feel like for the guys, baseball's been their life, their whole life. Like they're so used to this. So for them, being away from family, it stinks, and like missing out on those big moments, they don't like it, but they're so used to it, and we aren't as much. And like we're also more emotional about it. And like the amount of times this season, like there's been a few times where I like cried to him, and but it's not about baseball. It's just been I'm missing these huge family moments where my whole family's together, or my nieces are growing up so fast, or we're missing another year of our dog's life essentially because we aren't with him. And it's just getting sentimental about those things, and it's just hard. It's not about
sacrifice.
Yeah. Oh, completely. But communication about it. And I mean, he's been fantastic with it. And I think it's important for the guys to, you know, be able to tell you like they understand the sacrifice that you're making, because it just makes you feel really validated. But also we have to understand our role of being here is like our job is to support them, like regardless of what happens. And I think having that open communication, like I remember like 2023 season, I remember Kyle called me and like told me something that had happened, and it wasn't good news, obviously. And just like if your husband has a bad day at work or loses his job temporarily, like my first reaction was start crying, and I was so stressed out. And he like had to have a conversation with me, and came from a place of love, and he was like, I love you, and like I understand this. He was like, but I also can't have you having this reaction when I'm when something this bad has happened. Like I need you to just be like, it's okay, we're gonna figure it out. And that was so hard for me to like understand. Like it sucked hearing in the moment, but I'm also so thankful he did, because ever since then, my poor mom, I'm like, I call her all the time with that stuff, because I'm like, this happened and blah, 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 and like this person did this and this person did this. But like having someone in your life, like whether it's a parent or a sibling or a friend or whoever it might be, that's your support system, being able to talk to them about this stuff so that you're not stressing your husband out. Like they already fully understand the gravity of the situation. It's with a professional athlete, the thing that's so difficult, but also the beauty of it is that their job and the success of their job depends on them and like their physical ability, which is something that's so crazy. So like they already have that stress. Like they fully understand it. Our job is to just we're going to figure it out. Like, what can I help you with? And I think that can be hard sometimes to grasp, but it really has to be like taking a step back and being like, what do I need to do to be the best wife and like best support system that I can be? But I feel like that kind of went on a tangent, but
awesome.
Communication has been like the biggest thing for us. And like me communicating with him of like, if I'm struggling with something, and he was really great. Like how I said, I got to go home one time this season. He even said, he was like, whenever I was struggling preparing to leave my family, he was like, you can stay if you need to. Like, I want you back, but like, if you need to stay home for a few more weeks, like it's okay. Like my niece had just been born, and he was like, if you want to stay and see her more and like spend time with your sisters and your family, that's completely okay. Like we'll figure it out. So like just knowing, and obviously I came back and like wanted to be with him. Just having that support on both ends and the communication with each other, I think has been the biggest thing. But
I mean,
it's been crazy.
That's so awesome that like you guys have the marriage where you can be struggling and not handling something the best, and then your husband feels so comfortable in your relationship to be like, hey, I need you to put on the and be strong and carry this family right now because I can't. And so many times it's like, as being a wife, they come home, they have the bad day, something really intense just happened, or like sometimes they lost their job, and you just have to be like, okay, I will figure out, I will ship the cars to here, I will have it look like this. For me, like whenever Nash would sometimes lose his jobs, I'd always be getting ready to go on a flight to fly somewhere. And I'm like, why is this the timing when it's happening? So I'm like, okay, don't worry, I changed my flight. I'm gonna go home in at least 2 days, and like, if something else happens, we'll just cancel it. It's not a big deal. Okay, I've ordered Uber Eats. This is what's gonna happen. Just take a second. Do you need to be by yourself for a couple minutes and sort through things? Do you want to talk? And just, even though our minds are like racing so hard, like that one time with you where you just want to burst into tears because you have no control over what's happening, like we just have to figure out how to get it together for a second and just be the face of stability so that our guys can know, like, hey, no matter what, it's always going to be okay. it's always going to be sorted out. There's always a bigger plan than like what's going on and stuff. But if we are constantly breaking down and make them feel like they're failures when they already are feeling like failures themselves, like it's only going to be so much worse.
Yeah.
So like, so cool that you guys created that space. So cool that from like a difficult conversation that you were able to like grow so much. And that's definitely something that I think like some of the younger girls will be helpful to kind of know how to tread on like those difficult, really hard situations. Nobody, it seems like a lot of other people in the world are not going to like have to worry about experiencing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, like, if you think about it, how, like, it's not common for your husband to all of a sudden be like, you know, feel like they're doing well, like you see success, and then all of a sudden, like, the rug is ripped. Like, even if your husband works a 9 to 5 or like doesn't work a 9 to 5 or whatever it looks like, if they get fired and you're just like, I don't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow. I don't know if you're going to have a job in a few weeks. I don't know if we're going to stay in the country, clearly. I don't know if we are going to move states. I don't know, like, when we're going to go home. Like, you know nothing. Yeah. And so it's just, you have to just be like, we're going to figure it out together. Like, you have to stay on the same team always.
Okay. How do you have a healthy baseball and home life balance since you are depending on the team for so many things because you're living in a different country?
Yeah, I would definitely say it started off a little bit more difficult, but I know one thing that we actually talked about this in Bible study last week, and it's something that I actually heard through a mental performance coach, and I saw just like a video clip of her talking to like a former MLB player, and he said when he had a coach in AA, that the coach pulled him in when he was struggling, and he was like, I want to remind you, baseball is not your life or your wife. And Kyle and I have been talking about that so much lately of, you know, you have this amazing relationship with God. Like, you have an amazing spouse. Like, you have a family that loves you. You have friends that love you. Like, aunts, uncles, cousins, parents, siblings, like, whatever that looks like for you. Like, think about your dog. Like, you can come home from having a bad day at work and your dog is the most excited in the world to see you. And they just, like, you're their everything. Like, they love you so much. And for, I mean, all of these guys, like, your family and your closest friends back home in your circle do not care that you play baseball. That's just like, oh yeah, that's like your job. But it's like, if that was taken away tomorrow, which like is always a possibility, they wouldn't think less of you. So I think just always remembering that. And that's something Kyle always says too. He's like, if anybody like talks badly to me online, like that happens more in the MLB than here. He's like, I have a great family. Who are you to like say that that's my value type of thing? I think just keeping that in mind. And also it's really helped us to have stuff to look forward to at home and like, just planning, like even small stuff of planning trips or planning the first time you're going to see each other's families again, or Thanksgiving, Christmas, any small moment you can think of, or even just talking about when we get to take our dog to the dog park. Yeah, like your first night together on your couch at home watching TV. Just talking about those things and like getting excited for them, and talking to family really helps too. Like FaceTiming them whenever you can, trying to be involved in like those moments that are happening back home that you're missing out on. Yeah, I would say like a mixture of all of those things, but it's definitely hard, especially at first when you're in a foreign country and you're trying to balance those two things. I think especially here in Japan, baseball is life for a lot of the people that live here, were raised here. I think like they don't get a break all year. Like they're truly training at the field 11 out of 12 months a year. So like it really is seen as a lifestyle. So trying to remember that and keep that in mind of like, there's so much more to life. Like you are an amazing person before you are ever a baseball
player. It's just not who you are. It's what you do for a living.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you love it. Yeah. Like the second you lose that, you're not going to have fun anymore. And what's the point?
Exactly. So true. Speak the truth, honey. Great. Okay. What's the best piece of advice you would give another woman whose husband is planning on playing baseball internationally?
I would definitely say try to go into it with an open mind. I know that can be really, really difficult, but also just know it'll be hard. Like there will definitely be struggles with it, but also what we were talking about earlier with having a plan of either when you're going to go home or when you're going to have family come out and see you. That is like how like my mom told me when I was like growing up, she was whenever like at the gym or something, she was like, you can do anything for, like, we were talking about this before we started this. You can do anything for like 2 minutes or whatever it might be. As long as you have a light at the end of the tunnel and you have a set date, it just gives you so much to look forward to. And then you can start planning even more. And it just keeps you from, I feel like it'd probably be pretty easy to spiral here, especially if you don't have other Americans, which we're fortunate that we do. And like, we've been able to all get together and talk and commiserate about anything that like we're struggling with. But yeah, just having the support system, keep an open mind. Yeah, I feel like those are the biggest ones. And then just like have a date in mind of when you're going to get some type of break and like have that excitement again.
Yes, so true. Okay. And then finally, to kind of like finish off like the Japan baseball questions at least. So this environment can be pretty isolating. How did you deal with the isolation and intrusive thoughts that come with it?
Yeah, I really think the fact that we had 5, I mean, at the end of the year it was 5, like I was like 4 full-time though, other Americans here was so helpful, just because whenever you're having those thoughts of like, especially being, you know, for like both of our instances, like blonde, I'm 6 feet tall. That's very, very, very tall in Japan, tall in America, but like here, people are so much shorter than that. So I already stick out.
All those girls supermodels.
That would be nice. Thank you. But yeah, like you already stick out like a sore thumb, and you're very well aware of it. So being able to have other people, and like we've all been able to get together, and like when it was nice, go on walks or go to lunch, or I'll go on like a triple date or a double date or whatever it might be. You just relate to people a lot more, and you're like, okay, I'm not crazy for thinking these things. Like this is normal, but it's meant to be. Like it's meant to be hard, and I think these instances all happen for a reason very clearly. Like it's meant for you to like to challenge you and for you to be able to grow from. Yeah, I feel like that's been the biggest thing, just being able to talk to other people about it. And also kind of similar with the guys, like reminding yourself, like, just because people are staring at me doesn't mean like they're saying anything bad. And also like my worth as a person is like nothing related to that in any sense of the word. But I've definitely caught people like taking pictures, staring, making faces, like when talking, pointing, like all of that type of stuff. But yeah, it can be easy to go down that spiral of, oh my gosh, like, I'm in people's way, or they know I don't know the language, they know I'm not from here, whatever it might be. So I think it's just different. It's definitely a learning curve. I mean, especially looking at America versus Japan. America, we have, you know, it's normal for you to see people that don't look like you, and that's the beauty of it. Whereas here, it's pretty rare to see somebody that's not,
especially where we live too. Yeah, because it's not like really touristy in Nagoya.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty much like when you're a tall blonde American, it's like people they see you a mile away and they know you're there. So just keeping all that in mind.
Love that. That was awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so let's dive a little bit into some of the faith questions. So how did you know God was calling you to play in Japan? Was it hard to trust his plan? Or if God wasn't calling you, like, how did you know that this was like the direction you're being pushed?
I would say, so last year, whenever Japan first was kind of like introduced into the picture and it was like kind of seeming like it might be a real possibility, Kyle and I both said, we're like, if this is what God is meant for us to do, like, it's going to happen. And also, who are we? Like, I know we've talked about this too, like, who are we to think that we can impact God's plan for us? Like, it's comical if you think about it. Like, we are so small compared to his power, and like his, like, we're never going to be able to change his plan as much as we think we are and like want to sometimes. And then really whenever it just seemed like it was going to happen and we got the offer, it was like a no-brainer. It was like, it's going to be hard, but of course we're going to go. And it was just like very clear that if that was meant to be, it was going to be. So it wasn't something that we struggled with it in the sense that it was just hard leaving the comfort and like everything you know back home. But it was also like, we never doubted that that was the plan or anything like that. And it was also just like the beauty of it that's so different from like what you had back home, like the stability, for example, like keeping all that in perspective.
Yeah, it's like you're losing something a little bit, but then like you're gaining so much from it. And it just like forces you to depend on your husband more. It forces you to like have a deep strong relationship with the Lord, where sometimes you get on your hands and knees and you're just like, I'm tapped out. I'm exhausted. Like, this is just hard sometimes. And it's just like part of his plan. At least for Nash and I, we had a little bit of a conversation, and I'm like, this season was really tough. I'm not gonna lie. It was tough on a lot of different aspects, but we're coming home and we're different people. Mm-hmm. Our relationship with God has shifted so much. Our marriage has shifted so much. And not because we're like, oh, we're so madly in love and everything's amazing. Of course, I love my husband. He's fantastic. But like, it's through the trials. It's through having to figure out how to support each other. It's through having to push him to be a godlier man, and through him pushing me to be a godlier woman and stuff. You just grew so much. Like, is that kind of how you and Kyle feel leaving this season?
Say so. We've definitely been able to, like, even if it's like growing in our faith or even like growing our relationship, because we've never been able to spend this much time together, which has just been like incredible. But I would also say it gave us a whole new appreciation for everything back home. Like, and I know like we've talked about this too, where, you know, a few years ago it was praying and hoping that we would be on a different team. And then it was like, for whatever reasons it was. And then it's like, whenever you get to that different team, then you see like those answered prayers of like the community that you have around you and like the beauty of the place that you're in. But then it's complaining and it's like, well, God, like that's not enough. Like, why can't I have stability? Like, why can't I be in the big leagues all year? Or why can't I live in the same house all year? Like how some other people might be able to do. And then it's like, okay, God, I want that. And then you get that with here. But it's like, okay, well, the sacrifice is now I'm out of the country. I'm away from my family. I'm where no one speaks my language. I don't have a car. Like, there's so many different things. So it gives you such a big appreciation of being home and being able to get on a flight in 4 hours, probably max, like getting to see your family or go to a normal grocery store. I told Kyle, and like that first weekend, like if you want to go to the farm, fine. Like I would love to go, but like I'm going to Home Goods by myself and I'm going to spend probably hours going through those aisles, maybe Trader Joe's, H-E-B. Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Getting all the pumpkin drinks.
I know.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, our house is going to smell like the inside of a pumpkin. I can tell you that much.
It's going to look and smell like a pumpkin.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, it just gives you such a big appreciation for it too. Of like everything you had, of like even getting to spend time with your dog. Mm-hmm. Like everything.
Well, I feel like our biggest thing is I would always be like, okay, my family, for an example, lives in Arizona. Almost all of them do. So I was blessed where we did Arizona spring training for so long. And then we got picked up by the Nats and we're in West Palm. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so tough and everything. And we did it. And like West Palm is beautiful. So like worst places to be. I enjoyed myself every day. But I was like, okay, like, that was really hard. Like, that's the hardest thing we're going to have to do during baseball season. And then, like, of course, 1-year contract, it's last off season. And I'm like, my sister just has her baby. My nephew is born. And I'm like, okay, like, I feel like part of God's plan is for me to go to Arizona where it's simple during spring training and stuff. But worst case, if I don't, it'll be in Florida. And, like, everyone will just come out and see us. And it'll be so much fun. And we'll go to the beach and stuff. And then it's just like, nope, like bubble popped, you're actually like gonna go to Japan and be like 15 hours away. And it's like, oh, well, the hardest thing I thought we were gonna have to do was like deal with being in Florida or deal with being on the East Coast and having family on the West Coast and stuff. And it's just like, no. But also God granted so many prayers, like for both of us, it's you have the stability. We had the financial stability. We've literally always prayed for. We had the stability of not having to move. Like, I was so sick of having to pack. I was so sick of that gut-wrenching feeling of like, even if he does good, like, this is fantastic, but it means we have to figure out like a whole new housing situation and everything. Like, new team, new guys, what are the finances gonna look like? How does this make sense? All of that. And so it's like, but then we came here and we didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. But then the ungratefulness starts to creep up and you're like, but I don't have this. And like, and then all of a sudden you're like not grateful anymore. At least for us, we got so sobered by like just a small conversation we had in the kitchen of like, oh my gosh, well, this is going on and everything and blah, blah, blah. And then we look at each other and we're like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck, we're being so ungrateful. Like, he's literally given us every single thing we prayed for, and now we're sitting here and we're like, but it looks like this, and this isn't what we had in our minds, and it's like,
really. It's like, no, that's not enough.
Oh, Nash and Sydney, oh, Kyle and Connie, that's not how this is gonna go.
Completely. Oh my gosh.
Well, and then too, like, for us, from like wrapping up the season and talking about things and stuff, we were like, we're so blessed. It's been so amazing that God answered so many prayers. But I think that a lot of the reasons that we prayed those things is because we're like, that's what we were struggling with at that time. So if God answered those prayers, then it meant life was going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yes, the prayers were answered and it was so amazing, but also like we were just presented with other difficulties. We were presented with other ways to be able to cling to the Lord more. And I think that going into this season, we were a little bit naive of thinking, oh, well, we're going to have everything, because everything that was a stress in our life is gone now. So, like, best season ever. And of course, it was beautiful and amazing. And it was like the perfect story God wrote. But, like, no, it was hard. And it brought a bunch of other different, like, difficulties to light and stuff.
Completely. Yeah. But I think, and like you said, like, that is the beauty of it still. But it can also be so hard, I think, with how everything is now with, like, social media. And I almost feel like that's, like, actually another tip is don't go on social media as much. Like, one thing that has helped me so much is going on Pinterest, like, when I want to go on Instagram. So, like, finding home stuff, recipes, outfit inspiration, like, whatever it might be. It just, like, you're still scrolling, but it's not something that's having you compare yourself to somebody else all the time, which can be the biggest downfall. Like, I think that it can just bring so many negative thoughts and feelings into your life. And it's like, who wants to be around somebody like that? That's like, oh, well, I don't have this. Well, I don't have that. Well, I'll never have that. That's just no way to live at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think social media can make it 20 times worse.
Suggestion.
Yeah. I had to learn that the hard way, because I was like, why do I feel like this all the time? Why am I anxious? Like, why am I having these bad feelings? It's like, maybe because you're scrolling on TikTok.
Yeah, why do I want this thing that I never wanted? Why am I comparing myself to this person that I used to never compare myself to? Like,
yeah, comparison really is, like, the thief of joy. And one thing I know, like, we've been working on is kind of seeing, like, how similar to you guys, how, like, you look at everything you've been through and it almost feels unfair sometimes in terms of, well, why don't other people have to go through X, Y, and Z? Or why has it been so easy for this person, or something like that? But it's also looking at your life as a whole. And we always remind ourselves, like, well, we have amazing relationships, like, with our family, and, like, our families are really close with each other, and, like, they get along, and, like, we love our home and we love where we live. And, you know, we have, like, all these blessings in our life that aren't ever a given for anybody. So it's kind of looking at it from that perspective, and you truly never know what anybody else is going through. So it's like, look at everything that you have. Like, someone is praying for that every single day. Like, it could be they're praying to move. Like, they could be praying to be able to walk to the gym. Like, you never know. So really keeping that in mind has also been very helpful for us, and a huge part of, I feel like, how we've lived the past few years.
Yeah. That's so great. I love everything about that. Fantastic advice. Okay. Was it easy to keep Christ at the forefront of your life here, or was it difficult?
Honestly, I think because we had so much time, I would say it's been relatively easier for us. And I think also we haven't had as many distractions as we have back home. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, people are asleep when we're awake. Like, right now it's 4:37, so it's 2:37 in the morning for people. So we aren't talking to our family. Like, people aren't posting every second of the day. Like, you're not seeing all of these different things happening around the world. So I think it just kind of gives you a lot more time to be introspective, and you're kind of able to, and also, like, because you don't have a lot of Americans, like, I know we've been able to have Bible study. And I also, you know, like, whenever I came over here, I had a remote Bible study that I had, I think it was like every Tuesday for the first 6 weeks or something like that. So I think it's been relatively easy because there hasn't been as many distractions. And that's something I know Kyle and I both want to keep moving forward. Yeah. Of just, like, keeping that same routine that we've had, and kind of keeping that, and keeping God at the forefront of everything that's happening, of being like, was happening because of him.
Yeah.
And like, that's the beauty of it. But what about you guys?
I feel like our journey was like a little bit different with that one, where I think like a lot of people, when you come to Japan or you come to like an international place to like play ball, whether baseball, basketball, soccer, any of them, if you have any form of like a relationship with Jesus, you feel like this pull that it's like, I'm not coming here for this sport. I'm coming here to like talk about God on some form of a level, whether you choose to fully deep dive into it or not. You're like, I feel deep in my bones. I'm coming out here to be some form of a disciple to this kind of community. And I think that where Nash and I struggled a little bit with it, is it's just like that took like we carried such a heavy weight with that one. And I think that sometimes, at least with Nash, it's like he would get poured into by having baseball chapel and different things like that, or being able to go to church and everything, where I can talk to my sister about Jesus and have that time to do it. Where like we would have our Bible study, or talking with all of my church friends like back in Fort Worth and everything, and having them pray for us and having our group chat and stuff like that. I think Nash felt very isolated in his situation and stuff. And a lot of the times Kyle and Nash would usually not be able to be on the same team and stuff. So that was kind of hard as well. Nash's experience was a lot of not being with Americans and being with a lot of the Japanese players, which is like such an amazing experience to be able to fully pour into people. But I also think that like you don't have people pouring into you.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest like conversation that we had to have about this, is it's just like, sometimes our cup would just feel like so empty in situations, and his cup would feel empty, and then he would like bring that emptiness home, and then it was hard for me to like figure out how to fill it, and like he was having a hard time like going to God to fill it, because honestly, like nobody can truly fill up like your cup the way that like God does, and like having conversations about God, the godly community. And that was one of the biggest struggles that we kind of had here with that. And then thank the Lord for just sorting through it and figuring it out and stuff, and kind of just powering through. And I think that like his heart broke, because you come here and you see how kind and generous and thoughtful every single person is that lives here. And it's really, really hard to know that they don't know the gospel, or they don't believe the gospel. And I think that just hit so hard for him that he's like, I'm going to save everybody in Japan. That's my plan, which is like, I love it. It's so beautiful, like such a giving heart. But that's exhausting.
Yeah.
You can't go into it. And like on top of it, you're playing baseball.
Yeah.
So I think just pulling back the reins and just being like, okay, in order to leave, what do you feel like God is calling you to do? What are some small accomplishments that we can move forward with and like we can get done, so that you can feel like, okay, this is what God asked me to do, and I'm leaving these guys with knowledge of who Jesus is, so that somebody else can come here and kind of teach you further. I know that was probably a lot with that topic.
It makes sense. Like, that completely makes sense. I do think that is so beautiful. He felt so strongly about that.
Yeah.
Wanted, like, that was something that was so important to him, to be able to leave,
Yeah.
you know, like leave anywhere that he goes, like a better place, and like make an impact on other people. Because I can't even imagine like you have no one helping you and like filling your cup up. Like, that's such a lonely feeling. Oh my gosh. Do you feel like it's gotten better?
1000%. It's definitely gotten better. I think it's helped a lot too. Like, he's gone to like Kyle, he's gone to Chavis, like he's gone to so many of the guys and just been able to get his cup filled. And I think that he's sometimes just like, oh, well, I want to be the filler and I don't want to have to take anything from somebody. And it's like, those people want to fill your cups. Those people want to help you in this situation. Like, and so I think he's just kind of learning that it's okay to kind of go and ask for things and ask for somebody to disciple you just as much, so that you can go back out there and like full force just like hit it.
Oh my gosh. So. Yeah, absolutely. And I think for the guys too, obviously like back home in the States, you go to the clubhouse, whatever level you're at, like you go to the field and you know all of these guys, like you know what's happening in their lives. You maybe even like all just hung out recently on an off day or whatever it might have been. So you're able to have conversations, like whether it's something that's lighthearted or something really deep and meaningful, that like whatever it is that fills that person's cup, you're able to have those relationships with people in all different areas at the field. Whereas I think the difficult part whenever you're coming to, I'm sure it's the case in like Korea, Taiwan, Japan, any type of place where your language is not spoken, I think that can be really difficult because you only have the other Americans you can talk to. And for the guys here, you know, if it's a position player and a pitcher, you don't have the same schedule. Like you're barely seeing each other at the field. And you might only have your interpreter who also is working with other guys at the field. So he's not with you all the time. So it can feel super lonely. So keeping that in mind too.
So kind of like a little bit on that topic, what was it like to be a Christian in a place that's part of the 99%? And for the people who don't know what the 99% is, 99% of people who live in Japan are not Christians, so they believe in Shinto or Buddhism. So only 1% of the population of the Japanese here believe that Jesus died for our sins.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, it hasn't felt too bad, but I think that is strictly because of like the community that we've been able to have, like with doing our Bible studies, and then we've also been able to have with the other wives and like the other family that's here. I also think that when I was able, like first here, and like we didn't even really know each other yet, like, and I had that remote Bible study that was so helpful, and like I remember signing up for it back home, and I kind of like, it was actually a girl that was in Japan last year that advised me to do that. She was like, one thing that was hard was like not being able to have access to family and like your loved ones. And she was like, if you can, like find some type of community that's remote and you're able to do that every single week. Like having that was so helpful. And then like you were able to find a church here that was English and Japanese. So that was really helpful. And like also watching church from back home each weekend. For us, it happens on Monday, or say you don't watch it one week and you can just keep watching it a week behind. And then, you know, really you kind of have to take the initiative with yourself a lot more. So doing your own Bible study, like I know one thing that's helped me is I started a year in the Bible that, I mean, you've probably seen it on like Instagram. There's a ton of ads for it, but I got it on Amazon. And just something like that was super helpful for me. And then it kind of makes you want to dive deeper into it. And I would watch YouTube videos on it to fully understand and like grasp the history that was happening at the time and everything like that. So it hasn't felt too difficult for me personally, but I 100% think that's to be credited towards like the community that we've been able to have here, which I know a lot of people like. I'm so grateful that we've been able to have that, because I know a lot of people come here and don't. Yeah. And I can't even imagine how difficult that is, honestly. No. Like, just crazy. Have you felt the same way, or have you felt a little different?
I feel like for me, what's really beautiful about it is when you do get to go to church and just like watching people of this culture worship the Lord, I think it's just like the most beautiful thing I think I've ever seen when it comes to people just like praising Jesus. It's just so incredible when you fully understand, like, when somebody converts to being a Christian here, like, it's not like in the United States where, oh, like, that's great. Maybe sometimes you know a Christian, or like, maybe you have family members who are Catholic, Jewish, whatever, like, people are accepting of it. It's like here, no, being like Buddhist is who you are. It's what's passed on from generation to generation as like family members. And so when you choose to follow Christ and become a Christian, a lot of the time your family stops talking to you and like they cut you off and they want nothing to do with you, and you're having to choose God literally over every other person in your life. So I feel like for me it was such a good reminder of like, oh my gosh, sometimes I wake up Sundays and I'm tired. I don't want to go to church and stuff. And it's just like, I mean, we're so blessed in the United States to have such like strong spiritual freedom and stuff, for people to have fought so hard for us to have this, where if I choose to follow the Lord, nobody has a problem with my family's not going to disown me. They're not going to stop talking to me. And of course, like there's small amounts of that in the US, but in Japan, it's like so strong here. So seeing people that are so on fire for the Lord that they are willing to just be like, okay, fine, you want nothing to do with me, I'm choosing him. And then how the church community just rallies around each other during it. That's one of the things that I thought was just like so cool and so beautiful with it. And it's just, yeah, it's tough and it's hard, but I also think as long as you're just trying your best and any opportunity that you have to be able to like spread the gospel and stuff, that's all that he's asking you to do. And even just saying something about it once could just be like the small little door that God is asking us to open to for that person to just start thinking about him. And the next person can come in and do something else and stuff. I feel like that's just kind of all we can really do while we're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, completely. I think it's a chain reaction no matter what. It's like, I always compare it to just like being kind to someone and like that one little act, like maybe you're smiling at them and then it's going to make them smile at somebody else. Or, like the people who pay it forward and like, I'm going to pay for the person behind me. And that's like the chain reaction that keeps going. Yeah.
Okay. Final question. What helped you continue to grow and strengthen your relationship with the Lord here? I feel like we already talked a little bit on that topic. So like if there's anything that comes to mind with that, or if there's any like final like words you want to say with it, like you are already so knowledgeable with that already.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I would say I really think being here and being so far away from family is you are isolated. And while that is so difficult, I think it's trying to look at the beauty behind it. And I know we've both been focusing on that. And I know like our husbands have both been focusing on it too. Otherwise, I do think you could go down like a dark hole of that. But just continuing to be like, okay, well, like I have all this time, like I can dive into the word and I can understand this a lot more and have a deeper knowledge of it so that you're able to then allow that to go into other people. And I think, even with stuff that's been happening back home, there's been a lot of uncertainty, I think, with how things are playing out. And like, we're away from it. Like, we're in a completely different country, but we're hearing about it and it's scary. And really, like, whenever scary things and uncomfortable things happen, it's just reminding yourself those are happening. So you have no choice but to lean on God. Like, if you're not resorting to doing that, you're not leaning on him. What are you doing? You're now leaning on worldly things that are happening, whether it's some type of drinking or it's social media, or it could be, like a shopping addiction. Like it could be so many different things, or just other people's opinions. Whenever you start letting those voices come in, I think that's when it's a really, really dangerous downward spiral. I like lost my train of thought after that.
That was awesome. It's so great.
But yeah, I think just like using the time wisely too. Yes. And like everything that's here. Yeah, and then back home, I mean, it's just like we're away from it. I think everybody's felt unsure, especially lately. I think a big reason of that is everyone's scared, but when you are scared, like what can you turn to? Like then you're able to really dive into your faith and you're going to grow so much more in those uncomfortable and scary moments.
Exactly. And even though things are really tough and hard right now, he can turn anything and have it be glorifying to him. He will always turn something that's negative and that's hard and that we're just in the trenches with, and will somehow find a way for us all to rally together, which I feel like is the beauty of what's happening right now. It's like so many people finding Christ, so many people turning to him. So whatever the plan was for this to be something negative and to turn people away from him and to hurt people's heart, but like nothing will ever stop the Lord from moving and what his plan is. So his plan is always better. So thank you so much for talking on that topic. I think it's so important that we do bring that up. Just kind of like what our experience was with like being so far away from it and everything. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely hard, but just try to be able to like have that community around you, the community back home, and just leaning on your family too. Like not being afraid to ask for help. I mean, seriously, my poor mom, like the phone calls she gets, I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's like 9 p.m. her time. I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, sleep out a shower. I'm like, okay. And I talked to her for like almost 2 hours. I'm like, thanks for talking to me. I'm filled. Exactly. Yeah, completely. Like, oh my gosh. But we're so close to being done. Seriously, so close. Well, this is amazing. Thank you so much, Connie. Like, now you guys understand why I had so many different amazing positive things to say about Kyle and Connie, because they are just like absolute gems and just fantastic. Oh my gosh. So we're trying to put together a little bit of like a packing list of what kind of would be helpful little things and then little apps to download and everything. So I'll make sure to add those links and everything like that below. But seriously, Connie, thank you so much for coming on and for christening the first episode. Everyone's going to have such high expectations for the next one. Oh my gosh. You just killed it. Like, oh my god.
Thank you. Thank you so much for even asking me. That's so nice. And so happy. Hopefully it helps someone that's coming to Japan or Korea or Taiwan or anywhere outside of the country. And know it can be scary, but
yeah. If you guys have any questions too, we're always happy to answer questions or help, or like whatever that looks like and stuff. We're here to spread the knowledge and spread the gospel. So yeah, let's do it.
Yay!
Thank you.